Hello and welcome back to Isimo Podcast.
It's my podcast.
Okay, don't do that again. No lisp. My name is Gerardo Alarcon.
I'm Dominic Angel.
And I'm Ryan Reyes.
And today for the Patreon shout out, we have a couple new jaritos. It's Alex Knotts, Angel Amezcua, Aparni Rani, Aztec God, Eddie Bravo, Imperium Sloth, Izzy Sandoval, Jazz, Kareem, Luis Gomez, Daria, Nia Town, Calzone, aka Nicholas Moreno, Not Mitch, who are you, and Veronica Lopez. Shout out to all of our jaritos, which is the $20 tier of our Patreon. If you want to join on our Patreon, we have an exclusive episode every week for $5. You can be a part of our Discord, and then for $20 we give you a shout out and your picture on the wall, which I think we're improving on our space for the actual bulletin. You wanted to give somebody a shout out though, right?
Oh yeah, well, shout out to Calzone, one of our patrons. He sent me this dope shirt from his band Infinite Crisis, and he sent me a tape. It's a cool like hardcore thrash band. Check him out on Spotify. It's really tight. Thanks for the shirt.
He sent you a cassette tape?
Yeah, a shirt and a cassette. A lot of people are doing tapes.
What the fuck? That's embarrassing. I'm just kidding. Sorry. No, shout out to you, Nicholas Moreno, Calzone, aka. And yeah, if you want to join us, please. We just dropped a fire episode about my car crash. Not really. I actually didn't talk about the car crash a lot, but yeah. First episode post car crash and post blondness.
Oh yeah, we dyed our hair.
Yes, we dyed our hair, you animals.
You did?
Yeah.
Yeah. Shut the fuck up. As you can tell, I'm blonde, meaning I'm white. So
yeah, that when we said white, we meant he was going to change his ethnicity.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then for you guys, you're green, dabba dee ba die, and you're red.
It was blue.
If you were green, you would die. That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
And yeah, how you guys been? We've already talked about how we've been on our Patreon.
Yeah, we talked about it on the Patreon, but you know, we've been good. Fucking, we dyed our hair. We didn't. I didn't dye my hair green until the next day, so we went to the open mic and we played "Stand" by Eminem.
Yeah.
And it went well for 5 minutes, and then bombed for an hour and a half.
Yeah. Straight up bombed. The only thing that they laughed about was the fact that I let you borrow a shirt and it was XL and I was wearing an L. So they laughed at me being fat, basically. And then a guy in a wheelchair went on stage and talked about how fat I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Yeah. So, and also, I think we should remind you, we have been doing live shows recently, but if you join us on our Patreon, when we get to 100 patrons, we will be throwing a live show. Whether it'll be a podcast or just stand up, it'll be Isimo. That's all that matters.
Hell
so
yeah.
Check it out. Check out our Patreon. Please join. $5. Not that much, right?
Yeah. And once we hit that goal, we do the live show, all the patrons will get free access to either the live or the digital stream.
Yeah. So today, though, we are going to be talking about what happened this last weekend. Welcome to Theo Von's podcast. Just kidding. We all independently watched the Canelo fight, right?
Yeah.
And boxing, I don't know about you guys, but I love boxing. I've always been a big fan of boxing.
Yeah, I've only ever seen like 10 fights in my whole life, and half of them were in third grade. That's a joke. I'm not super familiar with boxing, but I always love watching like the huge fights. Mm-hmm. Like, so I was like, for this one, we got to watch it, because I didn't know until the day of like what a historical fight this was.
Yeah, it was just the unification of the belts, which hasn't been really done because, listen, that's more of a political thing, though. The unification of belts never happens, you know?
Right.
Like, as far as heavyweights go, the 90s were great because they were unifying the belts at all times. And then if you beat Mike Tyson, you got all the belts because he unified them, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And I could be wrong, dude. Comment below. Let me know if I'm wrong. No, but it was cool that Canelo is now the, I think, super middleweight champion.
Yeah, super middleweight.
Of the world in all different fucking crazy, like, iterations of boxing. It's like the WBA, the IFC, whatever fucking... I guess the Independent Film Channel has a fucking belt too. I don't know. Like the ABC, CBS fucking belt. Like, I don't get it, but it is awesome. He's already has fucking 5 belts. Like, what's one more? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I love Canelo, dude. And it took me a while to love Canelo because I've always been a fan of... listen, when I was a kid, Oscar De La Hoya was the GOAT. I didn't know anyone else other than Oscar De La Hoya. That was when me and my parents would get together. When my family basically would get together and watch all of his fights.
Right.
And like him losing to Floyd Mayweather was one of the worst weeks for my family. And same with Canelo losing to Mayweather. It was just like unbelievable, you know?
Yeah, it's crazy. I just realized, like, I've only ever known, I knew he was a boxer, but I've only ever known De La Hoya as like a personality, of like being famous for being a boxer, but I've never seen him fight.
Really?
Yeah, not that I can recall.
Dude,
I've seen him twice.
Yeah, I've in person, or you see his fights twice?
Like I've seen his fights.
Oh, okay.
Not in person.
Dude, every freaking time he would fight, we would get the pay-per-view. And I don't even know how you bought pay-per-views back in the day.
You had to call the cable company.
Yeah, that's some... man,
ancient rituals, dude.
Yeah, ancient rituals. Imagine back in the day, you're calling you're like, damn, they really streamlined this process. You just got to make a phone call and they give it to you. But now it's like you just fucking enter a password and give them credit card information. You get the fight immediately.
Yeah, and then you lose your credit card.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get robbed.
Yeah, you get robbed. Yeah, pay-per-view is known for robbing people because you give them credit card information. But I would also, like, the family would get together for Mike Tyson fights and whatnot. Right. But there's something different when it comes to a Mexican fighting, you know?
Yeah, it's like there's a lot more passion. That's like the only thing that I've ever known about like Mexican boxers is like just the attachment of like the passionate fighter that they have.
Yeah. Right now it's definitely Canelo. And then what's crazy about that too is I was huge into Triple G. I love Triple G's fighting style. It reminds you of like Julio Cesar Chavez.
Right.
And he's not even fucking Mexican, dude. But the way he fights, just like head down, coming towards you with his fist around his cheeks, you know?
Yeah.
And like doing the little waddle. He's like, you know? He's hilarious to me. And then also like his little quirks that he has when he speaks to people is just like, I love when athletes are like, I'm the best in the world, dude. Get the fuck out of my face. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what's it, Ibrahimovic for the Galaxy? Like, if you look up, do yourself a favor. If you're listening to this right now, go on YouTube, like and subscribe to Isimo, but then also look up Ibrahimovic's fucking like GOAT moments where he just like, you know, like when he came to LA, he said LA has a king and now it has a god because he's talking about LeBron. Yeah, dude, LeBron James.
That's pretty dope.
That's just the tip of the iceberg, dog. He has so many good lines because like they were asking him about European soccer and like who's the best European soccer players, and he's like, you know, this guy's really good, this guy's really good, you know, different soccer players, and then they're like, we're surprised you didn't say that you are. And he was like, yeah, a lion doesn't compare himself to goats or whatever he said. Like, crazy. Or like sheep. A lion doesn't compare himself to sheep, dude.
Damn, anyways, this was just dope line after dope line, dude. Yeah. He's my new favorite boxer. Or what is he?
He's a soccer player.
Okay.
I like how like unaffiliated we are with sports that you couldn't tell.
I live for that shit, dude.
Yeah.
I want to be like the fucking Ibrahimovic of fucking podcasting, dude. You know what I mean? But all that to say that Triple G was kind of like that to me. Everything he would say, I'm like, damn, dude, stamp that shit and fucking sell it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So when he fought Canelo, I had chose to go for Triple G. I love Triple G. And then in the first fight, I felt like it was very close. It was a draw. I don't know if you guys know this history. Do you guys know it?
The only thing I remember was that maybe it was a fight with Triple G, or maybe it was an earlier fight where like people were pissed off with Canelo, like because they felt like they felt like the fight was rigged or something, because like people were booing Canelo. That's the story that I heard. And
listen, I felt the same way. The second fight, Canelo won, but when I watched it, I was like, "There's like Triple G won," you know, in my opinion. But upon further investigation, when you look at maybe the highlights tell a different story, but when you look at the fight as a whole, it's like, okay, I could see how Canelo won, but I could also see how it was another draw. I thought the first fight being a draw, and this is like the general consensus, that Triple G won that fucking fight. You know what I mean? Anyways, all that to say, there is a lot of politics in boxing that are, you know, you got to look at it. If you look at just the stats, right? Canelo's the younger fighter. Triple G is the older fighter.
Right.
You know, Canelo's only loss is to Floyd Mayweather, which is the devil in Mexican boxing, dude.
Yeah.
You know, nobody could beat Floyd Mayweather. And Mexicans tried very fucking hard, you know?
One time, I don't know what happened, but there was this fool. I was picking up my brother from work, and he was giving a ride to somebody that he had just met at work. And so we picked him up, and this fool had just gotten in from the Philippines. So he was all over Manny Pacquiao. And like, we didn't watch boxing, but he's like, you guys like Manny? You guys like Pacquiao? And we're like, yeah, he's pretty cool. He's like, he's the Mexican killer. I was like, oh, okay. He's like, he fucking kills Mexicans.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, dude, chill.
I never got into Manny Pacquiao. Like, he's a lighter weight class, though. I loved heavyweight boxing, and then also, like, in Mexican boxing, welterweight is, like, the king.
Right.
Because Mexicans are smaller than, you know.
Yeah.
And then that's why Andy Ruiz coming through and beating Anthony Joshua, who is, in not my opinion, but a lot of people's opinion, like, not a really good fighter. He just has, like, the British machine behind him, pushing him.
Okay.
You know? But Andy Ruiz knocked him out by hitting his equilibrium and fucking him up.
Damn.
You know? So him winning as a heavyweight fighter is very rare. Mexicans do not win the heavyweight class, even though we love beans and tortillas. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he had to be pretty big to get in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know. You don't see support for Andy Ruiz before he knocked out Anthony Joshua. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what's crazy is that everybody was talking shit about him before. I didn't see the fight, but I just saw people posting about it, and it's like everybody's like bagging on him for being so big.
Yeah, plumbers cracking the ring and shit.
Yeah, exactly. And then he wins, and they're like, "Give it up for all the tortas out there. You can do anything you want."
Fat positivity.
Yeah, exactly. It was Mexican pride and fat positivity, like in one.
Yeah, which I don't know. Like, okay, this is a question I wanted to ask everyone here. What weight class do you see yourselves in?
Damn, I always saw myself when I was a kid. When it, like the first time I watched, actually, did Oscar De La Hoya fight Sugar Shane Mosley? Because I think I saw that one.
I feel like he did.
He must have. But anyway, I saw Sugar Shane Mosley fight, and I think it was Oscar De La Hoya. But that was when I was like, my dad first like introduced me to boxing, and I was like, I want to fight, and I want to do this. What weight class would I be in? And he'd be like, well, you're like 130 pounds, so you'd probably be in like a flyweight or something. Yeah, I was so fucking skinny when I was little, so I was like, damn, if I think that's why I want to get in 150, because 150 is what, welterweight?
Yeah, 150 I believe is around welterweight. Yeah, like 155, something like that.
Yeah, and I think that's why like my target goal subconsciously is always to be 150 pounds, because I'm like, that's my fighting weight, dude. Yeah.
See, for me, welterweight. Oh no, middleweight is 180.
Right.
Which is where basically Canelo is now. I think he's like 183 or something like that. That's always been middleweight. Welterweight is like 150s, and then like lightweight is 170s or 165, something like that.
Yeah.
But people like Manny Pacquiao and Canelo and Floyd Mayweather, for that matter too, they just go through all the weight classes. They just get bigger and bigger and bigger. Canelo with a little bit of controversy, eating bull that fucking took some anabolic steroids, I guess, you know?
So he ate the bull meat, but the bull meat had the steroids?
That's what he said.
I don't know if it works that way, Canelo, but, you know.
And that's why the whole saga between him and Triple G was so interesting, because, you know, they draw the first fight. This fucking controversy comes out that he ate bull cum. I'm just kidding. Like, that had some anabolic steroids in it, which honestly, and look at, if you fucking listen, if I get a burger at McDonald's and then I take a fucking steroid test and I test positive, I wouldn't be surprised. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's no telling what's in a fucking Happy Meal, dude.
Yeah, there's no telling what's in the meat or the fries at In-N-Out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I feel stronger after eating Chipotle. You know, maybe there's steroids in it. Anyways,
instead of Popeye, he's gonna be Poppy, and he's gonna fucking unwrap a burrito.
Popeye, yeah, Poppy. That's so funny.
That would be so funny.
So, I mean, listen, we want to act like we're high and mighty because we don't take steroids. You don't know what the fuck you're putting in your body, dude. You know?
Yeah.
That's so crazy when the general consensus of like everyone is like athletes are held on a higher standard and they have to get tested for, like, imagine if we got tested for drugs all the time and we find out that we're taking opium without even knowing. You know?
I have no idea. I don't even check the labels on things.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think there's a little bit of hypocrisy, and it's also crazy because it fuels both sides. Like if you like in the match between Canelo and what's his name,
Jacob Plant,
Caleb Plant. Between them two, Canelo accidentally headbutted him, and then in the back of my mind, because I know boxing and whatnot, that's always an excuse for why you lost the fight. Well, if you wouldn't have headbutted me, I wouldn't have lost in the 11th round or whatever. You know. It's just those little storylines always kind of seep through in boxing.
Yeah, that's a weird thing because when you watch the fight, it's like that had nothing to do with anything. Like you were on the way down.
Yeah,
way before that.
And it's just me knowing boxing, because like for instance, Mike Tyson bit Holyfield's ear because Holyfield kept headbutting him. And he was like getting tired of it. He's like,
shit. So that's the part of the story that gets thrown out, that fool was being headbutt?
Yeah, I mean, it was obvious. And the ref did notice it a couple times, but it was just dirty boxing.
Yeah. I just know the story that he bit this fool's ear off, but I didn't know it was because he was being headbutt.
Yeah, that's what Mike Tyson says now, but keep in mind, this fool probably suffers from gnarly CTE. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
But also, so like, you guys aren't really acquainted with boxing, right?
No, like our dad showed us it as kids, and like he actually like taught me how to like stance and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I never like followed it as an adult.
So would you say you're closer to like Mexican football, soccer?
No.
The two biggest things in Mexico, is like
I know how it's played.
Yeah. It's kind of like the football, which is soccer in America, and boxing, in my opinion. I don't know if there's like cricket players out in Mexico that I don't know about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. My dad was more into football and basketball when we were growing up. He was also like very much into boxing, and now that they order all the fights, like his family.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think he didn't like soccer because he had like immigrated from Mexico when he was very, very young. So I think he kind of viewed soccer as being like an old man sport because of his dad.
Yeah.
And then that's why he got into like football and basketball.
Yeah, I mean, I was in baseball as a kid, and like this guy that trained me in baseball, I forget his name. My mom will probably tell me after the podcast, but I think it was Jesus.
Jesus Trejo.
No. But he was a friend of my dad's, and he loved baseball in like Mexico. He was like part of the major leagues or minor leagues or whatever of Mexico, and he was telling me like all this Mexican folklore of baseball. Like how important it is that Mexicans make it into major sports and whatnot,
Right.
But you don't see that in basketball, do you? Like, who's a fucking Mexican player in basketball other than like Devin Booker's like half Mexican,
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, nobody.
But these other sports where like Mexican fighting, Mexican boxing, Mexicans in UFC, like they become huge because they have like this fucking push of just like wanting. Like the culture of Mexico wanting people to succeed in the sport,
Yeah, I think it's because we have so few tall Mexicans.
Yeah,
that it's hard for us to break through in basketball.
Yeah,
even now I'm trying to think of one.
Yeah, there's like Hernan Gomez he's like a journeyman though. He's not on one team ever. He's just like a bunch of different teams. Right, and then there's Devin Booker who plays for the Suns, who's a great player. And for boxing though, which brings me back to what I was saying earlier.
Right,
Canelo won against Triple G. Right. It was in decision, which in boxing they tell you like don't leave it up to the judges because you're always going to be upset.
Yeah.
Which like the first fight was the draw, which everyone thought Triple G won. Keep in mind Triple G's like old as fuck. I don't even know how old he's. I think he's like 38, 39.
Damn, that dude's almost dead.
Yeah. As far as his boxing career, for sure.
Yeah.
Because there's also a thing about welterweights fighting or like anyone that's not a heavyweight. They have shorter careers because they just have like I don't know how to say it other than like. They just get fucked up. Like heavyweights can handle this shit forever.
Yeah, I think it's because my theory would be that they have less muscle, so like it has to recover more often.
Yeah.
And it's probably like they do take more damage, probably, I would imagine.
So like Canelo went on the record on Mike Tyson's podcast saying that he's gonna fight for another 7 years. So keep in mind, Canelo's gonna keep going. Triple G's almost out.
Right.
If Canelo loses this fight, he becomes less of a trophy fighter.
Right.
A prize fighter.
Right.
So him winning the second match, that was in the back of my mind where I was like, this fool didn't fucking win. It's just like politics of boxing. They're just trying to further him,
Yeah, it felt pretty crazy. I don't know if we want to get into this, but as soon as I saw like Canelo step into the ring, I was like, "Is this fool a Freemason?"
I mean, he is he's an albino Mexican guy, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, he's definitely a white Mexican, but I mean, like, because his maybe we want to protect ourselves from danger, but like. This fool's logo looks exactly like the Freemason symbol. There's like a whole thing about like Freemasons in boxing and like the Illuminati and like how stuff is rigged. Like maybe he pays tribute because Manny Pacquiao became a Freemason as well.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, a few years ago, and like they're huge supporters of boxing.
That's weird. I didn't know that.
So there might be a lot of shadow decisions being like. Who wins and stuff like that.
I did notice that Canelo Alvarez's symbol is really. I mean, I noticed it on his gloves. It's on both hands.
Yeah, it's on the gloves, and I think I could be wrong. I feel like the tattoo on the back of his neck is also a Freemason symbol. Viva Mexico, Yeah, but I could be wrong about that. But if you look at his logo, if you don't know what the Freemason symbol, it's just the compass with the ruler thing, and it's like this, which is exactly like his logo with
the G in the middle.
Yeah. And then there was this big old thing where he was fighting Triple G, and that the GGG looked like 666. So it's like,
oh my god, are Russians allowed to be Freemasons?
I
like how much you during the
anybody could be a Freemason. is the thing.
Dominic is Freemason. Just
No,
kidding.
don't.
Don't put that shit on.
I'm not saying that Freemasons are good or bad. Please don't put that on me. I just think it's interesting that his symbol looks exactly the same.
That's wild. I never made any connection between Freemasons and boxing.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I was watching this video where this guy was like pointing it out, and then he was talking about how this was around the Triple G fight, that this guy, because he was like, Triple G got robbed because of the Illuminati, and then they're like, look at this symbol, and it was like it was the Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor, and that they had like a weird Freemason symbol on their like banner. And so they're fucking chock full of Freemasons, like.
Oh my god!
And that's why McGregor lost the fight or something like that. They're trying to feed us the Satanism and all this stuff.
That's so funny, dude. Because imagine becoming a boxer and then making it to the top ranks, and everyone's like, "What's Freemasonry?" They don't even know. It's just like these symbols are cool, dog.
I like to make steps.
I like compasses, dog.
Yeah, I just like to draw.
Yeah,
I'm an astronomer.
That's so crazy.
I want to sail the world.
I didn't even know about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Because they don't want you to.
But that's also a thing of that concept of like finding ways to explain why something went a certain way.
Yeah.
Of just being like, it has to be a conspiracy that Canelo won because there's no other way that he could have won.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing.
That's so wild. I mean, you can make dots though in the sky and then connect them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, those are called what are they called?
I don't know.
Constellations.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying though? Like if you make the dots, they can all connect somehow.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
Like maybe Canelo's out there somewhere talking down about Freemasonry, but that doesn't improve your argument.
He also could be a Freemason, like like the fucking. The Brotherhood, what are they called? The whatever, the Freemasons, they're very open, like it's an open organization and anybody could join. They have like a lot of stipulations, but because they're such like a secretive, or like they have like closed doors, that people associate them with the Illuminati, especially because like it goes back history where like a lot of historical figures like Ben Franklin is a famous and I think George Washington were like famous Freemasons, like from way back hundreds of years ago.
Yeah.
So it becomes a conspiracy, but it's also just like it's a fraternity of people that are like supporting each other. In what ways? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I worked for a Freemason, and he basically told me that it's like AA. Like whenever I would talk about AA, it's basically the same thing, except they sit around, smoke cigars, and drink, and they just discuss what is going on in their life. Well, the one thing about Freemasons that freaked me out though is how much they talk about their good boys.
Not boys.
Not like in pedophile ways. I'm saying like they are like, that's a good man. That's a good boy. Like.
Oh yeah, like when they're talking about like a homie or something.
Yeah, like another member.
Right.
Like, yeah, he's a good man. He's a good man, a part of the community, like that kind of stuff. It's very scripted and it's weird. It's like, Doc, that guy killed 3 people. He's a good man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because you have to be.
Yeah.
I knew a Freemason. I worked with them, so I know a little bit of stuff, but also there's like things that he wouldn't tell me. There would be something going on in the world, like a major historical event, and like it just wasn't making sense. Like, and then it would look like the apocalypse was happening, and then we were like, "Hey man, what do you know? What's going on? What's the government doing?" And he just go,
"Oh my god, he's giving into it."
Yeah. He's just like, "I don't know," and then like he would keep back to work, like with all of his tattoos.
What were you gonna say, Ryan?
I was gonna talk about that guy actually.
Yeah.
So with Freemasonry though, I don't care, honestly.
Yeah.
It's just like they're just they could be just doing circle jerks for all I know.
Yeah.
Like that's not going to change the politics of the world. Like imagine who's in real power just like sees this group that's so secretive and whatnot. They're like, let's just fucking push propaganda about that, dropping little fucking tidbits of sound bites into Alex Jones' ear, somehow in their own lucrative ways.
Yeah. I mean, there's obviously somebody running the show.
Yeah. It's not Canelo Alvarez, dude.
I can't like picture them in a room together though. Every time I try to picture them, I just think of that Simpsons episode.
There's
a secret society in Springfield.
It's the Stonecutters.
The Stonecutters. It's like the same. They're a parody of Freemasons, but the way they're portrayed, they have their own song. It's funny.
It's a parody of like how people view them as a cult and whatever.
Which is why it's ironic that that's all they can think of when they think of them in a group, like in a room together.
Yeah. I mean, I just think it's about everyone trying to get better, basically. Good boys, good men. He's a good man.
I mean, it seems like it. The only stipulation that I know is that you have to believe in a higher power.
And you got to wear a skirt, dog. The fuck? I ain't going to wear no skirt.
Be a good boy. Oh, that guy.
Yeah, be a good boy. Put a skirt on. Nah. Not for me, dude. And then also you got to put the compass on your car and shit. Like, you got to let them people know.
Yeah, I know where I'm going. Sorry.
I know, right?
You get a cool pinky ring, though.
Really?
Yeah. Everyone Freemason that I've met has a pinky ring.
Jay-Z, pinky ring.
There it is.
Anyways, so, I mean, so you guys didn't... So for boxing, Mexicans, obviously, we have our fucking go-tos.
Right.
Now, I wanted to talk about... Floyd Mayweather was 50-0.
Yeah.
Someone's always got the goal, right? But, dude, fucking Julio Cesar Chavez was like 86, 87-0.
Right. He was 87-0 before he had his first loss, right?
Yeah. And then he got, I think he ended his career with something like 100 some odd wins.
I feel like it was 126, but I could just be making up
No, it's 100 and zero. It's like in the early hundreds. Like
okay.
106 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I believe 1 loss and 6 draws. I could be wrong. I don't know how they do. You know how the Europeans do the date, like the year,
they
day, month,
mix it all
and
up.
then it's like we do it differently. It's like, what the fuck, you know?
Yeah.
The same thing with boxing. Like when you look at Canelo's record, he has 2 draws, 1 loss, but the loss is in the middle.
Right. That's what I don't like either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, let's make it like in order of importance here: win, draw, loss.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So he had over 100 wins.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the fact that he went 87-0 is fucking crazy to me. Like when you told me that, I was like, what the fuck? How come I don't know? Like I know the name, but I've only ever heard Julio Cesar Chavez from like Mexicans that are like talking about boxing and who the greatest Mexican boxer is.
Yeah, Julio Cesar Chavez, without a doubt, is the greatest Mexican boxer of all time. And he represented Mexico, dude. You know, at the welterweight class. I don't know. Like, I have very little knowledge of Julio Cesar Chavez because he stopped fighting when I was like 5 or 6 years old.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he like rose weight classes or, you know, went around. I don't even know if the 86 or 87 people that he beat before losing were like worthy opponents. He could have just been fucking up the amateur circuit and then counted that for his record. I don't know.
I mean, that's true. I don't know a whole lot about boxing, but it still seems like pretty incredible. But I mean, maybe the thing is that he's just not an American fighter, so we don't talk about him like the same way we talk about like Mayweather and Ali and stuff. But that it seems like an amazing feat that like more Mexicans would be talking about, or that maybe it's just we're underrepresented in fucking media and that we don't tell these stories. But you know, who knows?
I mean, that's what I'm trying to get at because, dude, that's an amazing record, dude.
Yeah. What weight class was he in?
Welterweight, 155. Right. I could be wrong.
I feel like that's a thing too, is like people don't take those classes seriously, maybe. Like,
I mean, listen, I don't take the flyweight class seriously in UFC. I'm a big UFC fan. I can give a fuck if, what's his name? This Mexican guy, Henry, Triple C.
Triple C?
Yeah, it's like, because he's got 3 championships. He won the Olympic gold. He won the flyweight and he won bantamweight.
Oh, right. Bantamweight. That's like the low one.
No, flyweight is the lowest one.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Strawweight is like the smallest, but that's more for like girl classes. And then it's flyweight and then bantamweight.
Right.
And I think bantamweight is like 120, dude. It's like, I don't give a fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Put some meat on those bones and let's fight for real, dog. You know what I mean?
It was so funny watching the Canelo fight because we watched all the fights. But it was just so funny because every time, like, because they start with the small, like with the lighter classes and then they work their way up.
Yeah.
And every single time somebody came on, I was like, are we more than all of these people?
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Henry Cejudo is his name.
Oh, okay.
But it's also important to say that I think he comes from Mexican descent, you know? But he fought in wrestling for the Americans, not in boxing, but in wrestling. Okay. He fought for the Americans and he got the gold medal.
That's pretty tight.
Dude, if you guys want another YouTube video to go check out, go look at when Henry Cejudo won the gold medal. It's just so inspiring, dude. Because obviously it's the best thing that ever happened to him in his life, you know?
Yeah.
And growing up, the Olympics meant something else. Now it's just kind of like another thing that happens. But the Olympics were a huge deal when I was a kid, dude.
I remember when like the United States hosted and what a huge deal that was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your guys' favorite Olympic sport?
I don't really watch.
Everyone's easy answer is curling because it's just so funny.
I was gonna say ping pong.
Oh, yeah, dude. Have you ever?
Dude, ping pong games are intense.
Ping pong
yes,
dope.
It's the shit, dude. ping pong games, except for when you play Venezuelans, but ping pong games in the Olympics.
That's what I was like. I was also saying it to reference a story that's on our Patreon.
Call back.
No, it's on a regular episode too.
I know.
Yeah.
It's on the Madre episode, where I talk about the Venezuelans destroying me at ping pong.
I love that story so much.
But it's intense.
Yeah. Also, curling. I find curling to be hilarious, and then like, dude, it's just like the spectacle of the Olympics has no weight now, dude.
One sport I think is ridiculous in the Olympics is speed walking.
That's funny. I know I don't watch Malcolm in the Middle, but they had an episode about that.
Yeah, with the fucking
I
crazy
swear the
helmet.
last time I saw someone compete in the Olympics for speed walking, I swear that dude had headphones in and was just jamming out while he worked out. It's so funny to watch.
Weird.
It looks no different from regular people in the park speed walking.
When I was in middle school, I was really fucking fast. Okay. And like, I used to be able to push myself really hard. I ran the 100-yard meter in like 11.3 seconds or something, which for a 13-year-old kid, pretty good. So I used to just love like track and field sports, and it's so funny. Daniel Cabral makes fun of running for fun and all that shit, but it's like, I don't know why it's like racing to me. I feel about racing, even though it's boring as fuck to watch, it's like I feel the same way as I do like boxing, because it's like just the individual person. It's about like endurance and strength and just like pushing yourself to the limit. So I like watching that. I just pick a racer though. I don't choose it like based off of anything. I just, on the day, I'll pick that guy.
Yeah, I mean, I know we're on the topic of Olympics now, but dude, you know what I don't give a fuck about?
What's that?
One of the most popular winter Olympic sports. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Snowboarding?
Figure skating, dog.
Figure skating. Dude, that shit's intense though.
That shit's antiquated, dog, if you ask me.
Everything's antiquated in Olympics. Sports are antiquated.
Nah, not basketball. Basketball is different.
It's pretty modern.
Yeah. But it's just figure skating, it's like, dog, just make breakdancing the new figure skating. You know what I mean?
That shit's dangerous, dude.
Exactly.
You can hurt yourself on the ice, man.
You can hurt yourself on the cardboard too, dog.
Yeah. I think you get a paper cut.
Yeah,
fucking doing a backslide.
Yeah, dude.
No, I mean, but also I've like seen people train for figure skating. It's intense. It's like it's ballet while moving at high speeds with blades attached to your feet.
I stand by what I said. No, I mean, yeah, I could see how it's crazy, but also I could see how it's boring. Boring.
Dude, like spinning. It's dumb, but I saw that Disney movie when I was a kid of that girl who used math to become a really good figure skater. Is based on a true story. Like when you look into what goes into like learning the tricks that they have to pull off, it's fucking insane that more people aren't hurt every fucking year doing that shit.
I'm sure, but when you look into how much I care, it's like impossible to find, dude. Yeah.
I mean, I thought you would have said curling or something.
No, curling, you got muscles. You got
or the Louvre.
You got muscles for figure skating?
That you sit in a basket and go down a hill.
That's amazing. Because you could also see videos on YouTube of people getting fucking injured from street luging, dog.
I think you just want sports where people can get hurt.
Yes.
Is it because sweeping is so hard for you that you're like, damn fool, they're like really good at
Nah, fool. It's just like there's a goal to meet, and then like I don't know how you could be amazing at curling, but I just know that when you're amazing at figure skating, it's like, dog, this is bullshit. And then also, I don't know. Have you guys seen Bad Sport?
No.
Netflix?
No.
Do yourself a favor, check out Bad Sport. There's a figure skating episode, and these Canadians get fucked by these Russians.
Right.
And then that's when I made this harsh stance that I'm taking now. And I know I'll probably catch flack for it. If anyone made it this far in the episode, please cuss me out. But yeah, watch that episode of Bad Sport where the Russians won against these Canadians that were amazing. Right. And it almost brought a tear to my eye, you know?
So yeah, maybe I could see how like people hurt you and like you're very emotional about it, and that's why you don't like watching figure skating because it brings up terrible memories.
No, I just watched the 30-minute episode.
Jesus.
Oh, okay.
What?
Someone in your building slammed the door and I felt it in my mic.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear it at all. But if you watch the episode, it's infuriating because, listen, this is spoiler alert. I'll let you get away right now. Okay, you're gone. And then now I'll say the story. Oh, what's it called? So the Canadians and the Russians, they knew they were going to meet each other at the Utah, whenever they had the Olympics in Utah.
Right.
I want to say like 96. I could be wrong. Correct me in the comments. Also say that you love me too, because it'll hurt if everyone talks shit about me. But what's it called? So they met at the Olympics. They knew that they were going to be like the top two pairs. It's like pairs figure skating. Boring. But what's it called? The French judge came out afterwards because listen, the Canadians did perfect. Like everyone in the stadium was like when the Russians did 3 mistakes in their thing, which also mistakes don't exist in figure skating because the whole sport's a mistake. You know what I mean? Anyways, you guys are really taking a stance here.
You're really taking a stance. What are you talking about?
You guys are just not giving me anything. What's it called? Anyways, so the score comes out after the Canadians just fucking murders, dude. Like just everyone in the stadium is like, you know, because everyone that loves figure skating is in that building because nobody really cares about it outside of that building. So, so the French judge gives them a poor score or whatever. Nobody knows anything about it until after the fact because there's like this controversy. How the fuck did these Russians win? There were 3 mistakes. Right. Well, technically, that's not a mistake because this and that the other thing. Nobody gives a fuck, right? But the French judge comes out and says like, hey, I was fucking bribed by this French president of figure skating to give him a low score. And then like they did a deeper dive on it. There's like some Russian mob member that paid off the president or something like that to give them a lower score so that when it came to a different aspect of figure skating, they would get a high score and so that the French would take home the medal, but the Russians take home the medal for the doubles figure skating. I don't know how I said all that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Very entertaining episode. And it turns out the French lady was not allowed to score, right? And it was like for that other match thing, but the French still won that match. You know what I mean? Or whatever that figure skating thing is. All that to say, you know how boring the last 3 minutes of this podcast have been? I'm just kidding.
I mean, it sounds like figure skating is just as shady as boxing is.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And the shadiness is what kind of drives me away from it because you know that that's never gonna leave.
Right. Yeah. That's one of the things about every time there's a major fight in boxing, it's always like people bring up like the shit, like this is a bad light for boxing to get away from its past.
Is Conor McGregor good for boxing? You know, like all that shit. You know, it's like what about all these fucking promoters and shit that like kind of rig fights? Like, why do the judges suck ass when it comes down to the scorecard? You know,
yeah, wasn't that a thing between was it Pacquiao and Mayweather where they're like they switched the cards, like they switched the corners? I mean, when they were judging.
I don't know about that.
It's happened before where it's like they'll start scoring people on the blue card, or like the blue corner got this score and then the red corner got this score, and then when they tallied it up, they switched sides of like who was in which corner, and then Mayweather won.
Oh, but also if you watch that fight, I feel like Mayweather won. And then it's hilarious because I have a joke right now that I'm working on about how when somebody that speaks a foreign language speaks English, they lose like half their intelligence. Yeah. So at the ringside, after they interviewed Floyd Mayweather after winning, they went up to Manny Pacquiao and they're like, "How do you feel about the result of the fight?" And then Manny Pacquiao was like, "I thought I won the fight." And I was like, "You didn't win. You sound like an idiot." I'm just kidding.
I thought I won the fight.
I thought I win the fight.
He crossed the line.
He crossed the line. His shoulder roll was excessive. Do you guys know about Floyd Mayweather's fight style?
It's very defensive, and he like likes to move around and like wear people out, and then go in later.
It's called the shoulder roll,
right?
Where you do this shit, you know, and so like you miss a lot of punches because he's rolling on it, and also you're just like your reach isn't really effective because his head's so far back, but he's just shoulder rolling. Also, he conserves energy in his hands because they're down, right?
I think that's what that one guy tried to do when we were watching the fight.
While I was watching the Caleb Plant fight, you could notice he was like back to Canelo a lot when he was like in those corners when he was along the ring, getting boxed at. I'm such an idiot. And he was trying to do like the shoulder. I was like, what the fuck is this fool trying to shoulder roll right now, dog?
Yeah.
The part that I liked about the earlier rounds was like the second or third round, he starts doing this thing where Canelo's glove keeps getting hooked in his glove, so he can't throw his left hook. Mm-hmm. So the next time they like went up on the next round, every time he does that, he starts punching him in the arm so that he can't like lift his hand to do that anymore. I thought that was really funny.
Oh, so Canelo punched Plant in the arm?
Yeah, like he makes his arm tired so he can't like lift it to hook the glove anymore. Yeah, because he was doing that.
Yeah, he kept holding.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, that fight was great. Caleb Plant versus Canelo was great. There was a little bit of holding, But dude, compared to other fights, especially in the recent past, there was no holding in that fight, dude.
Right. Yeah, like it wasn't excessive or anything, but it was also like I noticed that he like put a stop to that shit. He was like, "Stop it."
That's one of the main reasons. Obviously, the corruption of the sport of boxing and holding in boxing is what kind of turned me off from it. And I'm way more into UFC now because it's very decisive.
Right.
You know, like if it goes longer than 3 rounds, it'll probably go to a decision. You could just tune out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But in those first 3 rounds, there can be an explosive moment where there's just like a knockout, and it's amazing. You know.
One of the things that I love about boxing and like fighting sports is like how everybody becomes an expert. Like I've never seen fucking boxing in my life before, but his 4th round and I'm like, that fool's tired. He gassed himself out. Yeah. If you want to like know how to pretend like you know anything about boxing, all you got to do is in the 4th round say, that fool's tired. Yeah. Damn, that fool's on a sick one, and that fool's tired, Doug. That fool's tired. Yeah, he wore himself out in the early rounds. He didn't pace himself.
Yeah, yeah. But I honestly really enjoyed the fight. Like everyone kept commenting, even the actual like commenters were talking about how he doesn't do defensive a lot. He like goes for the aggressive, the opposition, and he like knew how to use it. Like when the guy would try to be reserved, he would start throwing more body shots so that he's as physically tired as Canelo is. So it's like a fair fight. Yeah. And dude, but my like absolute favorite moment was like right before the official knockout when he sees the guy stumble and he gets excited and he starts doing that when he runs up to him. He's like, "I'll fuck you up."
Oh yeah, well that's awesome. And like the thing is too about fighting, if you let them kind of catch their breath, which is kind of like something like you guys probably don't know him. Nate Diaz. Do you guys know Nate Diaz?
I've heard of him.
He's not a boxer, isn't he? UFC
no, he's UFC.
Right.
Yeah, I know him.
But Nate Diaz does this thing that makes me so mad because I love Nate Diaz, but he also he loves just fighting. He doesn't give a fuck if he wins or not. Yeah. But when he knocks somebody out and they get back up, he allows them to catch their breath and is just talking shit to them, which is kind of dope, but also at the same time, it's like, God, win the fight, dude, you know?
Yeah.
Like he fought Leon Edwards recently,
right?
And he knocked this fool out. Leon was winning the whole fight, but Nate got that lucky punch in, and this fool was just like, and then Nate Diaz is just looking at him like, "What's up, baby?" You know what I mean?
I love that though.
It's like a moral happening, fool. But Canelo chose to just fucking pursue him right when he got knocked out.
Yeah.
Because if you let them catch their, their chin, I guess you could say.
Yeah, there's still 1 round left. He can knock you out like out of luck, you know.
That and also they just kind of get stronger if you watch those fights where they kind of get more time, like especially like a knockout right before the round's over and they're able to collect themselves and go to their corner. They come out stronger because they have some time to just like kind of catch their equilibrium and shit.
Yeah, it's like a second wind. Yeah, and it's probably your body, like it's probably a natural thing where like these people, like your body is like fighting extra hard to stay up, so you get like an adrenaline rush.
Yeah, that's so funny. If anyone's a boxing fan and they're listening to this, they're like, these guys are fucking idiots, dude.
Yeah, let me know how stupid I am in the comments.
Yeah, in the 4th round he was tired though, so
he was tired.
But yeah, I had like 3 favorite moments of that whole thing. The first one was when he runs. The second one was when he's like doing that thing where he's standing on the banister and his coach just walks up to him and was like, "Get down!" and smacks him in the back of the head. That was really funny.
My favorite moment of the fight was when he was just on the ropes. Canelo was on the ropes and he was just like, "Are you gonna fucking hit me or what?" He's just like, "Come on, dude."
Yeah, because he sees him being like doing that reserve shit and he's like, "Come on."
Yeah. Because also, when you fight Canelo, from what I've observed, I never fought Canelo, obviously. But if I did, I mean, I'm not going to say he would win, but he would be hurting. You know what I'm saying? I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. I love you, Canelo. Sorry. Even if you're a Freemason, I'll join, I swear. No, but
I'll put on the skirt.
I'll put the skirt on, dude. I'll put your skirt on, dude. I'm not going to make the joke we made in the Patreon. Anyways, it made me laugh. I'm not going to say it. What's it called? I forgot what I was saying. What was I saying?
Your favorite moment? Oh, fighting Canelo.
Fighting Canelo. He never fights in the first like 4 rounds.
Right.
He if he has an opportunity to counter your blows, then he will, but he will not exert any energy. And then he'll come out like round 6 or 7, just fucking guns a-blazing.
Right.
And you're already worked out because you want to get in a fight or whatever. I don't know what the mentality of a boxer is like. What do you do if somebody's not punching you when you're in the ring?
I mean, my understanding is a strategy with when you're fighting Canelo. I've never fought him, but he'll kick my ass. Is that you want to try to beat him in the first couple of rounds, like you want to hurt him in the first couple of rounds because that's how he fights. Instead of taking it easy. But that's also the thing where my understanding is there's a guaranteed 4 rounds that if there's like an accident, somebody gets knocked out, that they're gonna keep going. So they have to have a guaranteed 4 rounds. So that's why like he reserves himself in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I noticed that in this particular fight. Maybe it's just my personal opinion, but it felt like, or maybe that it was that Plant was trying to do that more than Canelo was, where it felt like a lot of the opposition was coming from Canelo the whole time. But I think it was also just like that he had more to prove, making history and shit.
Mm-hmm. I mean, imagine if Caleb Plant won. Because
I laughed the whole time when they were like, Canelo. It's like, imagine Plant was winning. Plant.
No, yeah, there's no way. Yeah. And also, everyone fucking hated it. Even after Caleb Plant lost, everyone was like, boo, you're stupid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's so funny. That was like the Mexicans, like all of them were in Las Vegas that night.
Yeah.
And like, it was like when we were at the fucking the soccer game, and they're fucking booing the fans, the Nigerian fans as they're leaving. It's like they just gotta rub it in.
Yeah. Well, with that, it was more playful, but literally with Caleb, like with the Nigerians fans leaving, we were like, hey. It was like kind of playful and like good energy kind of thing.
Right.
And then the Nigerians were like, hey, you know what I'm saying? He's like, I'm gonna sleep with the Latina tonight. You know what I mean? When they're leaving. Anyways, but with Caleb Plant, they're literally booing this fool as he's leaving.
Yeah, they booed him as he walked in. It was fucking nuts.
And as he walked out, that's the craziest part, is when he's already, dude, your guy won, fool. You're gonna be like, hey, good sport, homie. They're like, nah, fool, he's not dead yet. No, what the fuck, you know?
One of the dopest moments of the fight was fucking Mana like singing Canelo in.
That wasn't Manafa, that was Mickey Rourke, Doug.
I thought the same thing.
I was hoping that fool would have been like Mariposa traicionera.
I know, a slow song, imagine.
Yeah. Just like playing Mana's greatest hits.
But then he like gets to the fast part. No. I could see someone coming down.
It's driving me bananas that we're having fucking rappers and singers bring out boxers now, dude.
It was crazy. Is that like a regular thing? Because I thought that was just like what they do.
It's like a new thing, and I want to say that it's caused by like this whole Triller thing. You know, Triller's putting on boxing matches now mixed with live performances so that people will buy the pay-per-view.
Oh shit!
And ever since then, it's like everyone has a fucking singer with them, dog.
Yeah.
I can see
I mean,
that.
it's better than having Jimmy Kimmel walk out with you.
I mean, fuck that. Yeah.
What would be your
My walkout song?
Yeah. I always say come on on accident. It's like, don't answer that.
my come out song.
I'm coming out.
No, my walkout song would be ABBA. It would be Super Trooper.
I don't know if I heard this.
Super Trooper, lights are gonna blind me, 'cause I'm always blue, like I always do.
When I was in high school, I had this
Okay,
homie.
We just skip it. I like it.
My homie Marco was like, he wanted his walkout music to. He was like, if I came out, I'd just be like, "No te metes con mi cucu," and just fucking dance like this while he's walking.
La Sonora Dinamita.
Yeah.
That'd be funny. What would your walkout song be?
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I think about it and like a perfect song pops in my head and then I forget it because I have ADHD and shit. I think like a chill one to just be like, I don't give a fuck about the song would be like, well, something similar to his, but fuck, I can't remember. Oh, me and my little brother used to joke we'd do the same thing and be Yellow Submarine.
I would come out to like some poppy song. Granted, listen, I'm not. This is Gerardo that doesn't train at all. Maybe if Gerardo trains, he'd be like "Raw!" when he comes out. You know what I mean? Because of crazy music. But if it was like what I want, you got, and it might be hard to handle, like a flame that burns the candle. Then I'll be singing to the camera, the candle feels the flame. You know what I mean?
He's just like skipping.
That would be a fun like title song if you're fighting for the belt.
Yeah.
What I want, you.
Yeah. That'd be great.
Did you watch the whole fight? Like all the fights?
No, I mean, like I was partying too with my cousins and whatnot. I watched the fight before where the guy got knocked out.
Yeah. That dude from Fresno.
One? Yeah.
The first or the earlier fight with Baez and I forgot the Reynosa or something. Reynosa, I forget his name. But it was two Mexicans that were fighting out of Mexico. And it was really funny because the commentators were saying the most wild fucking shit that I've ever heard. Like, they were like, Baez is certainly punching into him like if he's filled with candy. It's like, what the fuck is
Dude,
going
the
on
announcers
here?
said the funniest shit. Oh,
Announcers bug the shit out of me now. Like,
they really do.
Our friend Miguel, I watch basketball games with him. I love basketball. I'm a huge basketball guy.
Right.
Basketball-Isimo coming soon. Just kidding. So with basketball, the announcers, I used to love it. I would watch with the noise on and everything. I started watching basketball games with Miguel, and he has it on like mute. And I'm like, what's the matter? And then I'm trying to like fight for the announcers. Like, come on, dude, let's watch it with the announcers on, you know?
Right.
And then you turn on the announcer, he's like, wow, Kyrie Irving really securing the bag with that layup, you know? Like the most like, I guess like hood terms they could use, you know?
Oh yeah, like they don't know what the fuck they're talking about anymore.
Yeah.
They're just like, and it's always like this weird old people. Like when we were watching the fight, I was like, why the fuck is Joe Biden interviewing these boxers? Like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah, right? Exactly. That guy has been around for years.
Yeah.
He was on like HBO boxing first, then he went to Showtime.
Oh my god, it was so funny because that guy Mike Tyson was sitting in the crowd,
Yeah.
and he was interviewing him about like his, and he's like, "Oh, you fought last year. Are you fighting this year?" And he goes, and Mike Tyson was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be fighting this year. We're setting it up. It'll be an announcement soon." And he goes, "Exhibition." And then Mike goes, "Yeah, they get pretty brutal." Like to be like, "Why the fuck are you calling me out for like doing an exhibition fight?" Mike Tyson was like pissed. He was like, "Yeah, you know, they get pretty brutal." And the guy was like, "Ooh, whoops."
He's gonna eat my children.
But they just kept like saying the weirdest shit, asking the most random ass questions. Like,
Why can't they just be themselves? They have to try to appeal to the audience. It's like, I don't give a fuck if you appeal to me, dog. I'm telling you, basketball, it's like, oh, Kyrie passing the rock to Durant, you know?
Who calls it a rock anymore?
I think it's because they want like
cap. I bet Durant's gonna go for a 3 right now. He's securing his bag. You know,
I've heard them say no cap, and it's so funny.
Yeah. Well, there was like a handful of announcers that they have their catchphrases. And so, like, I think everybody wants that now, but it's become a thing where it's just like, my favorite, honestly, I'm boring as fuck, but my favorite thing about listening to, like, sports on the radio is literally just, like, the information.
Yeah.
Like, just give me the information.
But they have to try to get people to watch, and it's like it kind of becomes like people tune into the cringe. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, maybe you don't fucking sponsor every 15 seconds of the game, and then Sprite is giving me this. McDonald's is brought to you by this fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
Like,
also, McDonald's is not bringing me the highlights of the game. Like, what the fuck?
Right.
The athletes are, dude. Highlights of the game brought to you by Raycon. Great headphones for you to use, and like if you take a look here, Durant's making a layup, but he's thinking about his Raycons. Go to Raycon.com/KD. You know?
yeah.
I love when they have to say the catchphrase of the product, or like if it's a movie, but in their voice.
Oh, dude, the whole fight was sponsored by Resident Evil. Welcome to Raccoon City. And I told what's his name, Brendan, about it last night because he was like, "Did you watch the fights this weekend?" I was like, "Yeah." Did you see Raccoon City, dog?
Yeah.
He's like, "I'm seriously moving the needle right now, dude." If you guys don't know, I produce a podcast called Raccoon Titties with the #1 fan of Isimo, Brendan Cooney.
Yeah, the only white person that we like.
Yeah.
So funny. That would have been. I'll do it for later. I just had a thought pop in my head because I have ADHD. Anyway, the conversation did bring me to my third favorite moment of the fight.
Yes. This is like a Dave Chappelle special.
It's not the announcer, but the translator when he's like trying to be polite.
Oh my god,
and
that was really funny.
But the dude's like, "Finish it, finish what I said."
That was great.
The funny. It's like when your mom tells you to cuss, but you don't want to cuss. She's like, "Say it how I said it." It was the funniest.
There's another moment. I know what moment you're talking about is when after he won and he was like, "Say it." He's like, he addressed the motherfucker situation. It's like the white dude saying it,
and he goes, "No, you say it. You say it." And he goes, "Say it."
Yeah.
He taps him with his gloves like, "Hey, finish."
Yeah. He's like, "There's no bad blood and everything's good." And then
sorry about the motherfucker.
Like, say it. It's like you don't say no to Canelo, dog.
Yeah, he's undisputed, dude. You can't fuck with him.
So
he just won the 4th belt.
Like he's covered in belts in the crown. He's like, "Say it."
Yeah.
He looks like a kid who's like, "I didn't get my song on my birthday."
The producers are telling the translator like, "Whatever you do, just don't cuss out there." And he's like, "There's no bad blood." And then Canelo's like, "Say it." He's like, "The motherfucker thing, I swear."
Sorry, I said motherfucker.
Yeah.
It was so funny.
And then after that, he translated everything perfectly from.
I know exactly.
What's it called? There was another moment with translation where they when they were doing the corners. That's my favorite part of the fights is when the cornerman talking to them.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And he said like "dale putazos" or something like in Spanish, and then the cornerman was like, "Give it to him good," or like the guy that translated it is like, "Just why don't you just say what he's saying?"
It was so funny.
Hit him nicely.
Yeah, hit him
Make
nicely.
punches.
Be a gentleman about it. Like the white guy translating it. Oh man. Anyways, that's been the episode. It's just like a little touching on boxing. We might revisit boxing in the future. I think boxing is amazing, dude. And
I mean, I definitely want to learn more about it. I always like I said, I don't know anything about boxing, but every time I watch it, especially when like Mexicans are involved,
yeah.
I like it. It's like, damn, I could do this, or like it's inspiring to see fucking boxing.
It's very inspiring. That's the number one thing I love about boxing. And like Oscar De La Hoya, when I was growing up watching him, granted now he's not somebody that you look up to because of how he treats other people. But Oscar De La Hoya fighting, dog, was like, I looked forward to that shit. I knew it was going to be a great fucking night because the family's together. And that's what it represents for me, boxing in general. Just like my Mexican family gets together for those things.
Yeah.
You know, just like tonight, this weekend, dude, I knew we had to get together, like my cousins, and it was a great fucking night, you know? I talked about it on the Patreon if you want to know more about that. Yeah. But yeah, if you want to join our Patreon, we're looking for 100 patrons right now. I think we're at 63. So we're getting close, guys. And we'll throw live shows and we'll start to develop maybe phase 5 of Isimo where it's a live show, you know?
Yeah, we're actively seeking out theaters. We're going to make it happen. So I'm excited, you know, and check out all the bonus content we have.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you get a lot. Well, you get my mom's recipes on the Patreon. I have 2 more to edit. I just, you know, my life's kind of fucked right now, so I'm trying to like work my ass off to get back to where I was. But also at the same time, there's already a lot of stuff that we have up there. I think 30 exclusive posts already.
Yeah.
So please do yourself a favor. You get early access content and bonus content, and also my mom's recipes, which is kind of.
I mean, they're really good.
Yeah,
so.
and she's fucking hilarious. So
yeah.
You know.
The Discord is pretty lit.
Yeah, and the Discord is awesome, and it's kind of finding its own culture now, which I was worried about at the beginning. It's like, what do we do on the Discord? But now we're kind of like, you know, people know what to come forward and know what to expect of us and whatnot.
Yeah, we're on there all the time. People are sharing stuff, talking about things that they like. It's a really good time, and you know, it's worth it. $5.
And there's a cool thing too on the Patreon. I don't know if you guys know this, that you're able to do this, but on the Patreon. It's new to me, so maybe it's already known. People join Patreon all the time.
Right.
The RSS feed, you have a separate RSS feed on your Apple Podcast app. So you can listen to these on the app. You don't have to go to Patreon. I used to listen to Patreon episodes by just going to Patreon.
No, I did the same exact thing, and I was like, I'm gonna quit Patreon because this is annoying as fuck. So that's, if you were hesitant about that, you can link it to your Apple and like get the same thing. That way you don't have to bother with another app.
After you become a patron, you put enable RSS feed link, and it'll take you to Apple Podcasts. I don't know if the same thing happens for Androids and Pixels, but I mean, everyone has iPhones as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I mean, I prefer the other one, but I have an iPhone.
Yeah. Anyways, I'll cut that part out. Did you want to say anything, Ryan?
Oh no, I just had this thought when he was describing. He was like, I almost quit Patreon, and then I was like, but he didn't.
Yeah.
Stay.
Yeah.
All right.
But so that's it for us. My name is Gerardo Alarcón.
I'm Dominic Angel.
I almost thought you were gonna do the Abernathy thing because
Oh,
here.
Gerard
And
Abernathy.
I'm Ryan Reyes.
I thought you flipped out the camera.
I almost did. I was like, don't do it. Other finger.
And for us at Isimo Studios,
Don't fly.
Yes, on my part. Sorry, you told me not to. Don't fly. Their perspective, because they don't hear any of that, so they just see you guys both go. Oh, my head hurts.
Hell yeah.